family, the whole race, the one race. We're all equally beloved children of God. We are all born equal, equally endowed by our Creator to share in the wealth of this planet. So it's not so far out. It's not such a wild-eyed liberal idea to say that you have an inherent right to share in the prosperity that God has endowed you with, okay? That is conservative. That's Christian. That's the way we're supposed to be. So, we need to learn to love our enemies and pray for them and bless them and, know that God's not stupid and he's not going to bless our enemies or anybody we've got a problem with in any way that's not fitting and proper. For example, if it's, some really rich guy that, he thinks that money is the answer to everything, rich dad or something, it's not by condemning him for being rich. It's not, when you bless him, it's not like God's going to, endow him with more money. I mean, a lot of people, they miss this passage in Bible. It says, those that have been giving, those that have will be given more, okay? This is in terms of have, if it's talking about, the biblical definition of have means the highest interpretation. So what is it? Is it having material goods, material prosperity, or what is that have that's being talked about here? No, this is about having what is truly valuable above all, okay? Not what is pseudo-valuable like possessions, material goods that are temporal. They're temporary. We can't really own anything in this world, okay? Who can own anything? If you can't keep it forever, and you can't, everything's on loan. It's all usership. God owns it all. And then we die, and, and we believe that we get new life and we get to go to this better world they call heaven, but really God's will is going to be established on earth. Okay? So understand that, we've got to see things through divine eyes in order to overcome and really see, reality as opposed to this unreality we've all been subjected to and dipped in, imbued with, and marinated in, inculcated with, indoctrinated and brainwashed into from what the reality is that we could have, okay? And the reality we could have is a perfect reality. As long as you can imagine it, remember, it starts in your imagination. When you say, you know what? I don't see why this problem must be maintained in perpetuity. And you say, aha, I stumbled upon the reason that this problem is being maintained because there's somebody profiting. Ask yourself, cui bono, CUI, look up the term, who benefits from this problem? And understand all these special interest groups that benefit from the problems persisting and hopefully proliferating. Okay? This is the reality. This is the unreality that we must face in order to be empowered and to say, no, we're not going to contend with this forever. We're going to confront our enemies with love, with tact, but under no uncertain terms. We're going to be the parent. We're the authorities telling them we're the government. We the people. Don't just say you're representing us when BS, it's like that passage from the Bible, like God says, these people honors me with their lips, but their hearts are far from me. Well, that's these politicians, all of them. City, county, state, federal. That's what they're doing. They're a bunch of backstabbers for a freaking paycheck and whatever other perks they get from their job security. They're way out of fear. This is their path to freedom. They can't worry about you. Okay, they got to worry about old number one, taking care of their family. Screw you. So we've got to tell them who's boss. It's we the people. It's our government, and those are going to be our printing presses, and our name is going to be on those bills. Okay, those dollar bills are going to be not Federal Reserve notes, we the people notes. Okay, sound currency backed with checks and balances, accountability, oversight by we the people deciding our own financial destiny and not allowing our currency to be perpetually debased so that the cost of living can rise and benefit special interest groups. Okay, their numbers go up while the worth of the currency goes down. This is what's happening here. This is how the wealth disparity happens. You want to know what's going to happen across the country? I've told you what's going to happen. So hang on to your seats, because unless things, unless the worst is over, things are going to keep going in that direction. You're going to lose more and more wealth, more and more home ownership. More and more prosperity is going to be lost to the few. The wealth disparity grows while poverty is cemented and solidified. And then this is the this is the Cloward and Piven strategy. Impoverishing the people, getting dependent on the government too. So then they have an interest and their voting interest. They're going to vote their interests. So they vote these socialist policies. This is what they want. They want us to go communistic because then the elite, this new world order cabal, sits on the top. That's what they do in China. They're very much the untouchables over there, very much fascist. I mean, they got, all these 5,000 executions a year, mobile organ harvesting vans, women being forced to have abortions. We got kids working in factories. They got to put up suicide nets. And this is the model. We're going to go in debt to this country. Donald Trump is right. We should get out of debt. I like a lot of what he says. We shouldn't be beholden to these people. Okay, I think the wall is dumb. There's bulldozers, there's ladders, there's explosives. They can dig under it. They can fly over it. Okay, they can go around it. There's just a million ways that a wall is a dumb idea. It's just a boondoggle for the people. Another big expense, but a bonanza for somebody else. That's the way it works, like Obamacare. It's been a very, very bad thing for regular, everyday people, especially the poor. It always hurts the poor worse. Their money is worth the most. Like that passage in the Bible where the widow, Jesus is witnessing the people at the church giving in their money, the synagogue, putting in their money. The rich gave out of their wealth. They put in a lot of herbs and tithes and all this. But the poor gave out of their need. The poor one puts in 1 penny. She had all she had to live on. And in the sight of God, it was worth so much more. And we're supposed to emulate what God is emulating. So the money of the poor is worth much more. So when Obama attacks the poor, this is an atrocious tax. Okay? This is very serious. It's extracting it from people that don't deserve to have it extracted. They're not the ones hoarding the money. If we're going to have a fair tax system but like this, let's at least start at the very top. But then by the time we get down to the people making $1 billion a year, we can leave them alone. You understand, if we had an iota of justice in this world, this is the way, that's the reality we would demand. That reality. Make the multi-trillionaires pay for everything. The wealth exists primarily in the labor of the people. This is it. This is what builds the bridges and the skyscrapers, all the infrastructure, the superhighways, all the houses and the mansions, all the sewer systems and the water systems, all the electrical grid, everything, all the factories, all the stuff coming out of the factories. Everything is because of labor, growing the food, building the tractors and the combines and the harvesters that are out there, and maintaining this equipment. Don't worry about machines taking our jobs. We want more and more jobs to go to the machines. If our work week consists of 5 hours that we need, fine. And then next year, 3 hours, whatever. It doesn't matter. The young, energetic people come up and they're more than willing to help. They're just born into prosperity and full safety and security and freedom and liberty. They're not going to be debaucherous. They're going to say, you know what, I feel so blessed. You know what, I could kiss the ground you walk on, my elders. I love you. I'm going to take care of you. Don't worry about a thing. Everything's going to be fine. You're walking in divine light and truth. You're being idealistic, like you've been instructed from on high, like God told you. Be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect. You have big shoes to fill. You are created just a little lower than the angels. Be somebody. Be like me. So you're empowered when you love your enemy. You are being like God. And it's hard. God knows it's hard to love your enemy. God knows it's hard not to be a money lover. God knows it's hard not to lose your cool and to start hating people and just wishing that he would strike them with lightning bolts. You know that they're evil. He understands that. But he says, no, you need to be more like me. Remember, I'm also like that puppy dog. I'm also like that kitty cat. Okay, I'm a lot of things. I have many faces. And you need to understand that. You need to be like me. And we need to try to win our enemy over, because what is written in the Bible again? He says, all heaven rejoices over one sinner that repents than over 99 righteous men that don't need to repent. You understand how this thing works? That's, that's kind of, it's a paradox. A lot of what's going on here is a paradox, but we've got to go under the skin. We've got to get to the deeper meaning, the hidden meaning that's really not, God doesn't want it hidden, but the world has hidden it. These evil people, the Babylonians that want us in confusion, they want you disempowered and deceived. They don't want you to understand these basic truths. They don't want you to know the nature of good, the nature of God and truth and right and justice, and just following your own conscience, your own integrity, and just seeking to be who you really want to be, not who they've taught you think you want to be, just this personally well-heeled financially person that's skating by. And you know what? I've got all the comforts. You know, I did what's good and right in the eyes of the world, and you know what? You're stupid because you haven't. You know, and you know what? You didn't listen to me. You didn't jump on the bandwagon. And you know, if you know, you should have beat us when you could have. If you can't beat them, join them, right? That's the attitude of the world, right? Well, you didn't jump on board. You didn't become one of us, so you deserve to be beaten. You deserve to be trampled under the hooves of the more aggressive, the more dominant, the more that are prescribing to the social Darwinian system, okay, this vile, evil beast system, which is all about economics, all the political stuff, it's all about economics, all the social woes, all about economics, okay, all of it. All the problems we have can be traced to oppression, financial oppression. What is slavery all about? What is white slavery? It has nothing to do with white being the color of a race. Okay, this is child slavery. All these problems have to do with money. The pornography industry, big money in that, right? I mean, how many guys with a PC have gone, hey, they got sucked into some porno site, right? They start exploring it. The next thing you know, they're trying to send you viruses. If you're lucky, you got some good virus protection. You got, you know, I use Kaspersky myself. But, you know, the point is I'm not justifying anybody, you know, looking at images of naked people. I mean, you know, but we all know that everybody's done it at some point. And, you know, like I say, you know, the Bible even says, you know, what is sin to one man may not be to another, because, you know, enjoying the beauty of God's creation, I mean, how bad can that be? We're just quirky. We're screwed up. We're adulterous at birth. We're all steeped in sin from birth. We're born in sin. This is why we need to be covered with the blood of Jesus. You see, we're so screwed up, we shouldn't even know when we're naked or not, okay? And which one of us can say we don't know when we're naked or not? Which one of us is going to, accidentally walk downtown naked? No, we're extremely cognizant of our nakedness, unlike any other creature on earth. This proves something went very wrong, that we, on top of the intellectual food chain, okay, can fall into this problem. Okay, but you see, there's another thing with the the extortion through these viruses that are sent through computers. Okay, and then you got to buy virusware. You got to buy McAfee or some other free software that's say free, but maybe it's a setup. Maybe they're the ones spying on you or phishing. You know, that's another one, right? Spying and you're stealing everyone to freeze up your computer, screw you up, wreck your computer. I guess in some cases. But, I mean, that's what these people, these attackers, these cyber criminals can do. And they say, well, you know what, they're not buying any, software, even though, they're not, I didn't have that particular software. I didn't have, I don't represent McAfee, for example, but it's my industry, so I benefit by sending them a virus. So that's extortion. You understand how this thing happens? So it benefits my special interest group. So that's another way that they're extorting people, that, the pornography industry, okay? That's another problem. That is a problem. I can't speak to people's perversions, okay? I think it should be banned. I don't think any person under the age of accountability, okay, let me make that very clear, should be allowed to have images on the internet. Even with your approval, even once you become the age of majority, you should not be able to have even your own images when you were below the age of consent, okay? It's very simple, an age of consent, when your brain was developed enough to make that decision. So people can't even post pictures of themselves when they were below 18 is the legal age, okay? So that's my feeling about porn, okay? Let me make that very clear. And I don't I don't condone any images out there, below that age. Okay, but beyond that, if people want to post their own, that's their business. Me myself, I'm not involved in the porn. I'd make a very bad pornographer. I could never appeal to somebody's Achilles heel. Okay, but like I said, what is sin to one man? Because I know there's a lot of guys that are very embarrassed, at least, very ashamed of their porn habits. So it is a social ill, and that's why it's worthy to be talked about. And there is money involved in this industry. And there's a lot of people that are got a lot of money, and they pay these women, you can imagine, a little bit of money to do their little videos or their images, whatever, and it doesn't hurt them at all. So they can offer these images for free, and just maybe it makes them feel good. Maybe they don't find anything wrong with it. Whatever it is, maybe someday they will, and they'll delete their images